CJ here, live at the DC Black Film Festival, and I am here with.
Donta Storey.
So, early 2000s. What made you set it in that time period?
I mean, the story is loosely based on my life, and I'm a product of my environment. I am attached to that time period, and it just felt right for the story. You know what I mean? I thought it was appropriate. So.
I mean, was there anything like, okay, we have to like do a specific music cue or anything that note? Like, did you have something specifically that you wanted to kind of nail for that time period to make it known, like, oh, this is 2000, blah 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 blah?
No, not really. I mean, Compton. I'm from Compton. We shot it in Compton. Those are the years that I lived in the city. So the story, I wanted it to set and live in the time it did. You know what I mean? And also, I wrote little cool things in there. Like he had a CD player. Like those are things that I had in early 2000s. No cell phones in the movie. So we did stuff like that. But I think when I was writing the story, it just felt right. So I just went with it.
Yeah. Was there any like, because we've always seen over the years black films filmed in Compton, and there's always that kind of attachment of like, oh, this is Compton. Oh my God, it's so bad. And I think for you, you kind of did it in a different light. So was there any sort of trepidations like, okay, you don't want to go too tropey with it, but like I said, since it's based on your life, clearly you have a different perspective of it. So was it easy for you, since you had that perspective, to not like go into that direction of like, oh, it's Compton, let's just do the same old that we see in movies?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm from Compton. There could be 100 movies that are filmed there, but those are those stories. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I'm not from the city. Like, I gotta tell mine. Like, you give me an opportunity. You know? No, but I definitely feel like Compton is on the map, obviously, for a lot of reasons, whether it's music or rappers or NBA players. But I wanted to pay homage to the city. The story. If you see the film, the city is as much a character as any of the actors. I wanted to show the beautiful parts. You know what I mean? A lot of the parks and the monuments, people from LA, people from Compton will immediately know, like, oh, I grew up over there. You know what I mean? A lot of people from the city who've seen the movie that no longer live there, like, they kind of feel nostalgic. They're like, man, I miss home a lot. So I thought I did it in like a poetic way, like.
Because it kind of reminded me of Blind Spotting. I don't know if you ever watched that movie and stuff. Love that movie, and I thought they did, like you said, they did it like you did a good job, just like they did, where they highlighted the Bay Area, like that Bay Area, that whole area and stuff. And I think, like you said, you highlighted Compton from your perspective, and it's like, oh, Compton is actually more than what you think it is and stuff. And I mean, do you feel people are coming out of this movie are going to have like a different perspective of it now versus what they've seen before?
Right. I hope so. I mean, regardless, so you can take in this film, you can. I was speaking to all communities. Obviously, I filmed it in Compton because that's where I'm from, but you can put this story in Harlem, in Atlanta, in Houston, in DC. The story for the most part is I hope that when people leave, I hope their discussion isn't so much about Compton as it is the conversations that we need to have within the characters and learning and to tolerate and love the people in our lives, for better or worse. You know what I'm saying? So like, I hope that's what they leave with. I hope that's what y'all.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
No.
yeah, because I think we as a community and stuff, we always sit there and tell people, live in your truth. Live in your truth all the time. Like, because you can't just sit there and just lie to people all the time. So was that also kind of the goal that you wanted to do, is like have this character to just actually live in his truth despite all the circumstances that he's dealing with?
Yeah, I also wanted to. I mean, there's something that happens in the movie that would deter somebody from that. They would be like, I'm cool, I'm a hibernate, I'm a hideout, I'm gonna just become a recluse. But I wanted him to have not a happy ending, because like you said, it's easy to tell somebody living your truth. Hashtag it gets better. But I like to say I don't know that it gets better. It gets different. You know what I mean? It's life. You find resources. You have people that support you. You find safe spaces. And for me, the character, he chooses to continue life. He chooses to push forward with the influx of bullying. And I mean, it's always been bullying, but amongst, I mean, when you read articles about 13-year-olds, taking their own lives, we have to stop and ask ourselves what's happening. You know what I mean? Someone is to blame. You know what I mean? We have to stop that. And so I was like, well, do we end it on a note where it's just like I let the audience decide what happens to him, or do I include something like a little bow at the end to let you know, like, he made a decision to continue? Exactly. I'm not saying his life is gonna be easy. I'm not saying that he won't encounter the same issues the next day, but he is saying, you know what, I'm me. This is all I can be, and yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna live my life. So.
I mean, clearly, because like I said, you don't want to Hollywoodize the ending, so to speak. Because I mean, that's kind of one of the things I don't hate, but it's kind of like, oh, of course you do that. And it's like, was there ever any sort of point where you're like, I could do that, and then you kind of had to veer it back a little bit?
I did. I mean, because they teach you in books and in film school, and other writers will say that, well, there's a structure. I'm all about telling stories that are real. This is real life, and that's our issue. We're, especially in the Black community, but I mean, in our country as a whole, we like to sweep things under the rug. I mean, and that's why we find ourselves in tough situations, whether it's mass shootings or school shootings or 13-year-olds taking their own lives. You know what I mean? Like, we have to start talking about this type of stuff. And as a storyteller, that's my job. I can't tell you what to believe. I can't tell you how to live, but I hope that you are able to talk about this type of subject matter with your friends or your kids. Maybe you're a parent, you're like, yo, I want to bring this up to my kid. I just don't know how. Maybe you sit down and watch this movie and be like, hey, what'd you think? You know what I mean? And start conversations. Exactly. That's what I hope.
So for you, seeing the advent of where we're at in society with like the internet and just being able to film movies, you can film it on a phone, like, and just do all that stuff. Do you feel it makes it way easier to kind of get those kind of messages out there compared to before, where it's like, it's not gonna say it's tough, but just kind of like getting people to pay attention, especially with everybody consuming stuff like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I think so. Social media changed the game. Like Vine and Instagram. I mean, Instagram. I mean, people can pick their phone up and tell stories. And I think now, I have a 6-year-old sister. Like, she lives on social media. So if you picked up your phone and made a film and shared it on your IGTV or whatever, she may be an audience member. You know what I mean? They may take that message with her and share it. And I think that's incredible. With this movie, I'm a first-time director. I come from in front of the camera acting, and so I struggled a bit making that transition as a writer and director and feeling confident in doing that. So I won't say filmmaking is easy is my point. Like, it's tough, you know what I mean? And also just to say, like, I'm not gonna tell you to pick up a camera and just make stuff, because everyone says that, and then I'm like, well, are you gonna watch that movie? Are you gonna help share it? What are we doing? That's just a pacifier. I say, pick up, books, watch movies, go to the movies, support movies, come to film festivals, meet filmmakers. If you want to make movies, if you want to write, tell stories, write short stories. Let people read them. They're gonna have their opinions. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? So I won't tell you that filmmaking is easy, because a lot of people work very hard at what they do, and I learned that. Like, going into directing, seeing how hard a cinematographer works, seeing how hard an editor works, seeing how hard the makeup person works, like wardrobe. Like, it is not easy, but it is amazing. And you get to come to festivals like this and meet other directors and storytellers, and show your film to people you would have never shown it to beforehand. So do it though. So do pick your phone up. But yeah, also read.
Yes, definitely read. Writing too.
Right. Tell your stories. Yeah. So, yeah.
But thank you for taking time to talk to us. Like I said, it was great little short story and stuff. I think what's great about like that kind of avenue for short stories is that you're able to tell a story succinctly instead of, okay, how do we feel an hour and a half?
Right.
So do you ever see yourself extending out to doing like maybe a full feature, or do you feel this is kind of a good thing to kind of get yourself transitioning and going?
I'm working on another short. It's totally different than LiME. It's a dark comedy with horror elements. I'm a big horror buff, like hardcore, black film noir, all that, right? But I would like to be in features. I'd like to write them. I think that it's time. You know what I mean? Only you can tell your story. Same thing in acting. Like, you say, well, I'm gonna go audition. There's 100 people in that room they're black and they're male and black hair, but they can't do you like you. And so tell your stories, and I'd love to venture off into full-length features at some point, for sure. Yeah.
Appreciate you talking to us, and take it easy. No problem.